Andy Katz for NCAA.com and March Madness with Dan Gavitt, the Executive Vice President of the NCAA in charge of men's and women's basketball. And Dan, we are about 6 weeks into the season. Louisville loses to Texas Tech, which means, more than likely, we'll have our fifth number one next week. What do you think that tells us about this season?
Very unusual, a lot of parity in the game. I think the great teams haven't emerged yet. There's a lot of good teams that are developing, but they prove to be beatable this time of year. It's a great thing for college basketball. Teams will improve over the course of the season and emerge as those great teams. But we've already seen four really good ones lose early in the season, unusual.
So what this means, I think, for me, is that the selection and seeding process, especially the seeding process, is going to be so difficult for the selection committee. There are 3 high-profile Saturdays remaining in December with big-time non-conference games. What do you think the committee will be looking at here the rest of December as they sort of formulate going into conference play?
Yeah, well, it's interesting always. You don't really know how good or bad these wins or losses are until you get a full body of work for every team, right? Because teams that seem like they're great this time of year may not be as good over the course of the whole season, or teams that you think, wow, they're surprised they may not be as good, are as good as advertised. So, opportunity for teams in the next 3 weeks to get quality non-conference wins before going into conference play. Critically important for conferences, really, to get quality wins outside of the league, which helps to then verify how good their league wins are by what their opponents do in the non-conference part of the season.
One of the big changes, the rules this season, was the three-point shot going out to the international distance. Statistically, there are more teams shooting better than 40%, more teams defensively holding teams under 29%. It's sort of weird stats so far. What have you seen in terms of a trend, if any, with the three-point shot so far?
Well, I think the statistics will show you that it's exactly what we thought it would be based on 2 years of experimentation in NIT. Three-point field goal percentage down about a point, 1%, and the number of attempts and makes is down slightly as well. What has been a little bit of a surprise for me is maybe not just the three-point line, but the reset of the shot clock on offensive rebounds. A lot of changes, a lot of rules changed this year. And because of that, offenses aren't quite as efficient as they were last year. Scoring's down a little bit, offensive efficiency down a little bit. I think it's just taking a long time for players and teams and coaches to adjust to all the changes. But I think it's for the long-term benefit of the game. I think it opens up the court a little bit more, provides better driving opportunities and post-up opportunities to have a deeper three-point line. But really good shooters are seen to be unaffected by it, and average to below average shooters are affected greatly by this.
All right, so next week, we're going to see the first release of the net ranking. What do you think we'll see?
Well, the net ranking, as we know, is both a predictive and a results-oriented analytics. So the teams that have done well with quality wins and not bad losses, together with their efficiency numbers. How good offensively are they? How good defensively are they? Those are the teams that we'll see ranked, I think, highly in the net in the first release. And it will just improve over time because the more games you have, the better the net performs.
I'll tell you what, there may be seed upsets come March, but I don't think there'll be upsets because there's a lot of parity in this season. But I think it's going to be very hard to predict that bracket. Thanks, Dan.
It's going to be a great March.